What is up, Los Angeles, and welcome back to your Rams LAFB show. We did not see this one coming. This was a 10-point favorites for the Rams, dropping a game against the lowly Carolina Panthers. We can't call them the lowly Panthers anymore because they now have a winning record at the hands of the best team in the NFL, the Rams. We'll get into all of that, but first, Aaron Coscarelli. Why am I getting?
What's happening? What?
I'm getting some feedback.
On my part?
Possibly. Can you? I'm hearing
I
myself.
hear you loud and clear. It's probably my hair today. It's coming in hot. Is it still? What does it sound like?
Do you have your headphones in?
They're right here, but I need them.
I've got like a delay that I'm hearing myself loud and clear.
That might not be me. You can hear you. Maybe your thing is like Oh,
I have my
like a double window might be up. Maybe. Anyways, well, while you figure that out, because I hear you fine. So, are we good? 1 to 10. How are we feeling? Not great. It's still not working.
I'm just getting double audio.
You're getting double audio. Let me see here. Maybe it's my audio, but you didn't have double audio when we were in the green room, right?
No.
Hi, everybody. Okay. Ryan's going to try to figure that one out. And by the way, I don't know if you guys are leaving comments. Let me see if you can. Hopefully he'll get his audio fixed. But this is what's called live post-game show. And boy, was it a game. I mean, such a bummer for the Rams. I've been tweeting all game long. I really didn't feel like this was a trap game. People are thinking it was a trap game. This was a very physical, aggressive Carolina offense, taking shots down the field both times on fourth down. Bryce Young came up big, converted, and really Carolina never took their foot off the gas. Now I see your comments. Yeah, awful loss. 3 losses to teams we should have beat. Yeah, I mean, this kind of had remnants almost of that 49ers game, right? Just almost seemed like the Rams didn't see it coming. And one of the things that McVay preaches each and every week, certainly during his pressers, is stay humble. And boy, hopefully when we get Ryan back, it just felt like any given Sunday. Like this Panthers team was 6-6. But every much a playoff contender. They were aggressive. They were taking amazing shots. 3 turnovers on Matthew Stafford, 2 interceptions, and 3 passes. This guy has been clean for 28 straight touchdown passes. Okay, he hadn't thrown, I don't think, an interception since what? Was it week 3? Right? And coming off that huge game. I mean, it just feels like I think Chris Shula, Matthew Stafford, and Sean McVay are going to go back to the drawing board to kind of figure this one out. But let's go over it, right? Okay, hopefully we'll get Ryan back. Are we still echoing over there?
No, I think we're better. We'll see how this goes.
Okay, well, I was just, filling people in on how I get it. Coming into this game, it was a 6-6 team, and people are saying that it's a trap game. But I see this team, if they were to play like that in the playoffs, this is very much a playoff contending team. Taking shots both times on fourth down, Bryce Young coming up big. 3 turnovers on Matthew Stafford, 2 interceptions on 3 passes. This defense, and that, I think we'll go over it. Am I still echoing for you?
Nope, you're good.
No? Okay, good. I was telling people, what do we talk about every week, Ryan? Any given Sunday. That's how we kind of approach this pregame, that yes, this team sort of feels underestimated, but a 10 a.m. kick, East Coast time, even though the Rams are 4-1 on the road previously, now they're 4-2. you just can't, and that was the other thing. I think I also tweeted this out, and I'm curious to get your take before we really kind of dig into the nuts and bolts of this game. McVay preaches week in and week out, stay humble. And this is a really great example of, the Rams all week long have been in the news cycle, the national media news cycle, as best team in the NFL. I posted, are they the best team in the NFC? And people would write, no, they're the best team in the NFL. So could this be a case of, did this team listen, which is the thing that McVay says week in and week out, do not listen. I do not care who is number one in week 13 of the power rankings. Do you think that might have seeped into this team? They may have been listening to outside noise. And that might have been somewhat of a contributed to them coming out sort of like on their back feet, right?
Yeah. I mean, you definitely have to take that into consideration. Within the building itself. I mean, you said it first. I mean, when the voice coming from the top, McVay, conveying what you just said, we're worried about Wednesday, we're worried about Thursday, we're worried about Sunday. We're not worried, we're not thinking about these things. Obviously, as a player, as a younger man, so maybe you're reading the tweets and you start believing these things. And I think that they still are in that echelon. I don't think this changes anything about how this team is truly, compared to other teams in the league. I think they are among, well, now I'm saying among, they are the best team in the NFC by the product that they've put on the field. Now I'll say, I was thinking about it over and over again, and we didn't do much of a preview, partly because Ryan Diary, the other co-host, had kind of a family emergency going on, so we couldn't record. But I was like, this is a matchups league. Like you said, any given Sunday, and I think they just had an understanding. I kind of heard you mention the 49ers game script. I kept thinking about that game. I also thought about the Seattle Seahawks game a lot. So in terms of the San Francisco 49ers, Bryce Young only tried 6 passes beyond 10 yards. He connected on 4 of them, and his average depth of target was just 5.5 yards, which just in the general kind of world out there, 7's kind of your ADOT for your general quarterback. So they were keeping everything close by, and they weren't afraid to run the ball. And that's all San Francisco stuff right there. We've talked so much about this defense, and it always starts up front with the defensive line, and that really mitigates the pressure and for all the problems that Bryce Young has had over the years, getting the ball out quickly isn't one of them.
Yeah.
So he's got a beautiful release, and that matchup was good enough, and they forced the Rams into enough mistakes.
Yeah. The run defense was not good.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like they were the faster, more aggressive, more physical team. I mean, even the missed tackles. There were so many Rams missed tackles that extended the play. And again, I think taking advantage of the weather was inclement.
Yeah.
But man, it was such a bummer. You saw that huge Puka Nacua catch, that awesome block from Jordan Whittington with Blake Corum, eating up 30 yards to take it down the field, and then to finish it off with Puka. If you're a Rams fan, you're frustrated because this is a team that, it just seemed uncharacteristic that it even got here. It shouldn't have even gotten here in the fourth quarter, where, like you said, 10.5 or 10-point road favorites, and now we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see this amount of points being scored, certainly in the first quarter, right? Like, there were 28 points distributed in the first quarter. But it was it was a great chess match. And I even saw, you tweeted something that I thought was really interesting. You said something about, since Tyler Higbee's been out, 13 personnel or 12 personnel has been dialed back. And are you saying that's something that maybe McVay is either feeling less confident with his tight end room when Higbee's not in, Or are you feeling like defenses are just getting smarter with some of that sort of scheming?
Yeah, I think with Higbee out, you lose kind of your main chess piece, your queen on the chessboard that can do all of the other things. Colby Parkinson, better, he can catch the ball, but he's a better blocker. Terrence Ferguson on the other side, not a great blocker, but an explosive receiver. Davis Allen, he's becoming a much better blocker, but much more of a, Tyler Higbee does all of that. So you lose that element to it. And it hasn't all fallen apart. I think they're still explosive in that, but you see how the 11 personnel, and it's hard to attack the offense because other than Stafford's turnovers, they were good. I mean, Corum had 11 point something yards on the ground per carry, and Kyron had a good like 5.5 yards, something like that. 250 yards for Stafford, something, in that realm, touchdown passes, not hardly any pressure from Carolina. So it was just those a couple of mistakes that really undid them. And then their just inability to, you asked, over text kind of halftime, like what are they going to do? Like, it's going to be interesting to see what their adjustments are. And I didn't see anything really from the defense because they had just been so overwhelming and successful on defense over the last several weeks. Nobody really knew how to pick them apart, even in that 49ers game in which they put up 44 points. That offense with Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle couldn't move the ball on the defense, and this team could. So, I mean, I think, going back to what I was saying about matchups, not every team is going to be able to stick with the run like that. Not every team is going to have the patience to dump off, 5-yard pass after 5 screen pass, tight end screen, and then, drop it in the bucket, 3 or 4 times to create explosive plays. And I think you're right, to say, call out the effort, on the Carolina side. I think that they were fully prepared and ready to meet this very ferocious Rams team right where they are. So, I mean,
and it's not lost on me all week long. I said it's not lost on me all week long. We've been talking up Chris Shula, right? And like you said, how was he going to find a way to respond? And it's interesting that you mentioned the 49ers because it did have remnants of that. They just couldn't, like, whether he was going to run the ball, that was successful. Then he was going to, hand the ball off. That was successful. And then he was going to take shots on 4th down both times. They were very successful. I don't know.
I was at one point, I was like, Dave Canales isn't impressed. Like he was like, I'm going to do this. They tried it out a 4th and long, and I was like, are they going to go for this? They ended up punting it, trying to draw them off sides. But I mean, they came into this game not thinking, they didn't think, they certainly didn't go, the Rams are the second best team. They're like, we are in the hunt for a playoff spot, and we are going to play our butts off in this game. And we're gonna see what happens. And even more impressively, they were missing a starting linebacker and 2 defensive backs on their defense as well. So
can I say one positive?
Yes,
I'm gonna say one positive, Rams fans. Here's my positive. If you're gonna take an L and you're gonna really see what you're made of, take it week 13, take it week 14. Because they hadn't lost a game in what? This is what
16.
They were on for what? 8 straight wins. This would have been 8.
I think this would have been 7, but
would this have been 7?
Let me look.
Take your L now. Take it now. It's a bummer. It's against an NFC team. But here's a great opportunity to learn from something. Do it now. Learn about, McVay is clever. There's no better coaching staff out there. They're going to figure things out. Who they have next. They have Arizona. They've got a get right game against Arizona, and then they play Seattle. No, then they play the Lions.
And then Seattle. Yeah.
And then they play Arizona, and then I think they finish the season against Arizona. So take your L now.
Yeah, they got a
Learn from
Falcons game in there too.
Oh, that's right, Falcons. I think Falcons is the last game. Yeah.
Falcons and Cardinals. Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And if there was an inkling out there in the Rams locker room of like, we're flying, we're doing great, we're Super Bowl bound. This is a perfect gut check moment to be like, you know what? If you let a team hang around, I posted a meme from the Big Lebowski. I don't know if you know that, if you're familiar. Oh man, we got a live one in here. Dog walked your geriatric. You had 4 or 5 pressures. Calm yourself down. The Big Lebowski meme when he's got the homework and this is what happens and he smashes the car. This is what happens when you let a team hang around.
Yeah.
Especially with the weather, high variance stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
as
soon as it started to rain, the heart palpitation started for me. And just
you had to assume I wanted Stafford to come in and this be his MVP, like cherry on the top.
Nope.
And right from the jump, he had to come back down to earth. Their quarterbacks don't throw 2 interceptions in an entire season. There's been no season like that. So he had a good game. Otherwise, I mean,
and not only that, whoever wrote McVay failed to run the ball. That's not really even true, honestly. I think
they were running the ball really well.
Yeah, and also the Rams and the Panthers have almost the identical rushing total, right? 152 out of LA, 164 out of Carolina, and what a great and a -1 out of Stafford. So a great performance out of Blake Corum, which.
Yeah. I will say they could have probably stood to take some more time off the clock, but they were moving the ball really, I mean, at will,
Yeah. It's a bummer. It's a bummer. I think here's my other spin on the optimistic, glass half full. These are the moments that actually define who you really are, right? Yeah. And one of the things that if you followed the Rams all season long, navigating adversity, navigating uncertainty, navigating stress, McVay says have good stress. This is still a young defense, and one of the things that I also noticed when I was watching the Fox pregame was they were talking a big game about Emmanuel Forbes. And Forbes did get burned a couple times, so it's like it's just hard.
Well, and speaking of run defense, you really felt Quentin Lake not in there today. You felt his absence, I think. And, not to pick on Emmanuel Forbes, but, I think he's listed at 185. I think he's probably about 165. And he got trucked a couple of times trying to stop running backs.
I interviewed him this past week at Rams HQ. He's a big guy, but he's long. You know what I mean? He's wide on top, but he's long. And I almost think sometimes when you're not as low to gravity, it is tough to take guys down. And we saw that a few times. Like he's a big guy, but because he's got so much length,
yeah,
you've
got to get real low. Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right about that. I brought up the Seattle game and why it reminded me of that. Sam Darnold had a really good game. He turned the ball over. Stafford had a good game. He turned the ball over, and that was the deciding factor in those 2 games. Not only that, but just talking about aggressiveness, I think that what cost Seattle a win in that game was settling for field goals. And then you get Canales out here again, not showing any reverence or respect for the offense or for the defense, going for it on 4th down 3 of 3 times. And excellent play calling on Canales' part. So I think it's just rough. It's I think I hate the phrase a win is a win, and I think this loss is a good learning point for not only the team itself, but also the fan base, that this isn't a flawless team. They can be beat. There is a script you can run. Can every team do that? Can every team not every team not get any pressure on Stafford. You know, going back to that Seattle game, a Mike McDonald defense blitzes at 29, 30 most times in the league, really low. They ratcheted it way up against Stafford. This team, you know, didn't blitz a lot, didn't get a lot of pressure, but you know, just got enough snaps to outlast them really. So,
but even that last, you know, just because I like to put salt in wounds and make myself feel even worse. That last Rams drive, you know, where the delay of game, again, very uncharacteristic of Stafford.
yeah.
Just kind of, and then obviously the strip sack, fumble, and then that really sealed the deal. It almost just felt like the environment was so hostile. It was loud. It seemed really loud. It seemed obviously, you know, rainy, which is why the few times it rains here in LA, it's good to practice in.
Sure.
And you know, Stafford's coming from, you know, like a place like Detroit. You're not really getting as much
in a dome.
Yeah, that's true. Right. I was like, as soon as I said that, I'm like, well, just because it rains in Detroit does not mean it actually rains at their game. But I just feel like that was really a big factor for today. Just the weather, the how loud it was, because those mistakes just they were kind of uncharacteristic of a Stafford.
And just to TBD's point here, they need as many learning opportunities as they need. Like, nobody decides that. It's not like they were like, this is a good one to like slow roll this and let them sneak out with a victory. They were trying, they rolled it out. So they needed a little bit more, teachable, a few more teachable moments from.
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
I think that's a great question. This question was asked, how many learning points do you need? They didn't learn anything against the Eagles or the Niners. And I think each game was a different lesson. This game in particular, I don't know what your name is, sir, but I like to address people by their name. To me, this game signifies that the Rams have been hyped all week long in the national media. And I remember when I worked with Jesse Palmer, who used to play, Jesse Palmer, he used to, so he's been on very highly, touted winning teams. And he told me, he said that the biggest lesson he ever learned in football was, and I can't remember who the quarterback was. It was somebody. It wasn't Eli who he played with. And anyways, it was somebody in college, and they won a huge game, this quarterback. And he went up to the quarterback and he's like, yo, why aren't you like happy? He said, I don't want to get too high and I don't want to get too low. And it's almost like you have to have sort of ice in your veins when you play in the NFL, because the national media, this is the most popular sport in the country. And if you listen to the hype, you might bring that in with you. And I'm not saying that that's what ended up happening, but it's like, they've been talked about as this, I don't know, maybe it was too much pressure, but my answer to you in what was the learning lesson in this is still a young team, a lot of new guys together, this is an important lesson to learn, that do not listen to the outside noise. Because in my opinion, they were the more talented team, but they got snake bit by dumb errors and made mistakes. Like, you could tell this was, look at what Puka did. You could tell. And Devontae and Stafford in the red zone, it's a nightmare. So it just seemed like the defense didn't bring any momentum in any kind of turnovers. And then that mental sort of lull carried on where they couldn't really get right again, Yeah,
I'm interested to go back and look at the turnovers from previous games. They're definitely were turning the ball over at a really high rate.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been a specialty of the Panthers as well. So, they definitely capitalized on that. So I think that the next question is, this puts them in, a little bit of a precarious position in terms of their playoff standings, where it seemed like before they were heading into, a first round bye. This loss allows other teams to kind of crawl back into that conversation just by athletics. The athletics playoff simulator still have a 44% chance of getting that first round bye. That dropped from 67% before this game. But it allows the Seahawks to get back in that conversation. The Packers and the Eagles are all legitimate contenders to get the first round bye. Whereas before I felt like they had a lot of control. So TBD also mentioned that this is going to cost them. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. They're a playoff team. He says they're going to lose the 4 or 5 next. I don't agree with that. I understand the pain and the hurt that you're coming from, but like I was saying, this is a matchup situation. And, looking ahead, they do I think they match up well against the Lions. I don't know. We'll see it. We'll see about how that Seattle Seahawks.
Well, now they're on the road, right? So that's another very volatile environment, CenturyLink. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, that one's going to be definitely just a wild card. The Seahawks are playing the Vikings right now. We'll see what the outcome of that one is. Really interesting thing.
If you look at all of their losses, they're against very mobile quarterbacks, right? So Sam Darnold.
Well, not Mac Jones.
Well, Mac Jones had the ability to keep the defense flat-footed and extend drives and plays. But you're right. I mean, but I don't know. I just think that this team struggled against this particular quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't mean to blow up your point before you made it. Interesting results over the holiday weekend, though. Packers over the Lions, Bears over the Eagles, Buccaneers escape with the win. USC, yeah, there we go. Fight on with a victory bell win there. And I was curious about the Atlanta game. Has that one ended? Oh, Falcons lose again. So that draft pick is heading in the right direction.
Oh, good.
So
that's right. That's hysterical.
Yeah. Anyway, we're on to next week. We're on to Arizona. Is that a road game again?
Yeah.
All right. So we're on to Arizona. Likely to be favorites in that one. Probably a better matchup, but this one bit us in the butt. And we won't let it happen again. But we will be back very soon. We appreciate you guys always tuning in to these live shows. Love all the interaction you guys turn in. TBD, thanks for turning out. I feel you, man. This was a tough one for sure. Not one you want to lose. But definitely go check out Sleeper Fantasy, guys. They are our sponsors all season long. Put in $100, they're going to give you $100. You can pick 2 to 8 players, over-unders. It's a lot of fun. And if you don't want to put in any money, they're just going to give you free $20 just for signing in. Really good time over there at Sleeper Fantasy, fastest growing daily fantasy site out there. Go check them out. Help us out. Rams LAFB is the code to get those promos. Until next time, thank you guys. Appreciate you.